You know, the one thing I've learned is that when you start something, you got to let it flush out. You know what I mean? Like you can't just take a little piece. And that's why sometimes you'll see like a 18 to 20 minute Dick Facce clip where I'm ripping apart Ben Affleck for 9 of those 18 minutes or 10, 12, 8 of those 18 minutes because it's necessary. It's necessary that you know the size of his head. Without that information, you will be completely at a disadvantage when you see him in the countryside and you have to take your Volvo around on a detour. How do you know where the pinpoint positions are so you could start your turn around the noggin? This is only information you'd know if you had an understanding of the size and girth of an Affleck head. So this is the point. You can't rush the definition within, right? You can't rush the form factor. Oh, it's Ben Affleck, massive head. So you didn't get that. You're like, oh, what is it, a bug? The size of freaking Pluto. Oh, what do you do? The size of a basketball? No. The size of like the Doppler 5001 radar. Just a big dome. Can't walk through doors. Needs double-sized doors. You gotta see the way they cut the interior of his cars out so you could fit that friggin' noggin in there. Oh my goodness, guys. You gotta feel bad sometimes for Affleck because, he can't even watch like sporting events for his kids. They're like, oh, sorry. We're only admitting one. We're not allowing you to take up the entire freaking wing of the gym with that friggin' head. Why don't you just put a camera in the room and like Wi-Fi it? You can watch it from your oversized interior car. Throw it on the screen. I got a better idea. Go home. Just like I'm sure you have a device that, or you could have someone film it and then beam it to you so you're watching. Somebody with a normal size head can show up and film and beam it to you with the big nog and watch it on a big screen. Not as big as your head. In fact, it's actually like you got to cross your eyes to see it. It's the biggest screen in history. You still have to cross your eyes. They put 15 of the screens together. They got it out like that. 120 inches screen. 15 of them. You still had to slightly cross your eyes. You had to go like this. Just a little. Just a little like that. In order to see them. They were putting information. You were hoping to just be like, I'm Ben Affleck. And just look like this. Had to cross your eyes a little bit. It required 30 screens for you to be able to look at it straight. And even then, tiny bit. Like just like that. You know what I mean? Like, you weren't looking at it straight like you had on, like this. You weren't like, hey, what's up? You had a little bit of something going on. Something was going on with your eyes when you looked at it, even with 30. It took 97 for you to be dead on, where you're just like, 97 screens. Just 120 inch, 120 inch, 97. Because you're talking 120, 120, 100. They had triple level and then all the way out. And then Affleck was like, oh, I like this movie. They had to do it. They had 97 because they didn't want to hurt his eyes for the next Batman film, where they need 74 cameras to shoot his head. You didn't know this? Guys, they had to rent out the entire wing of Universal Studios just to fit his friggin' nog. You know the ones where they open the doors wide? That's the only way you can get an Affleck head into the studio, Studio B. That's the one that they use, Studio B, because that one has the doors that slide open 87 feet wide so you could bring an Affleck head in. Even then, he shaved a couple of the panels off with his head when he was coming through. Freaking humongous. I told you, there's a couple of scientists that firmly believe that Ben Affleck is truly the miniature planet Pluto. Look, I know it's a stretch, but where did Pluto go? We can't find it. Right there, walking around Los Angeles in his backyard. He's got 94 acres there because his head takes up 73 of them. He's oh my god! You guys know that he rents spaces to the cell phone companies, right? They wanted to put some towers, and they're like, "Where can we find a good place to put a tower?" Right on the friggin' top of Affleck. They also, this is a very, this is not a well-known fact by any means, but it is a fact. When Elon Musk was searching for locations to take off and land with SpaceX, the first run was off of Affleck. You didn't know that? You didn't know the first SpaceX flight was actually off of Affleck and landed on his friggin' forehead? Sometimes I wonder where you get your information. You didn't even look that one up. Go look it up. You see Affleck sitting there like this. The rocket, this is the largest rocket history of time. Elon Musk makes it. He's like, look, I make the greatest rocket ever. Makes this rocket huge. When it landed, it looked like a toothpick on Ben Affleck's head. Toothpick. People are like, what is that? A fake rocket? No. Biggest rocket in history. Affleck. If you saw a rocket taking off of what you would think is Pluto, you would say the same thing. That looks like a toothpick. Yeah. There's a very small contingent on the planet that still says Ben Affleck is truly the planet Nibiru. He's here on his 3,600-mile journey. He showed up 34 years ago. He's been here. Affleck, Nibiru, Planet X. All the same. Yeah. It's only a matter of time before it's disclosed. And people are like, oh, I knew it the whole time. I went to go and get waffles one morning with my wife, Lorraine. And she's like, let's go down and get some waffles. We took what we thought would be a 3-minute drive down to the local waffle inn. And Ben Affleck happened to be there. Yeah, he took up the entire freaking parking lot and the street. And we had to do a detour. This is the first time I learned of the Affleck detour. It's a whole different, this is like a thing. This is a thing, the Affleck detour. And so basically I had to leave my county. I had to go around into Suffolk County, come around to Donaldson County, and back to Waffle Inn. Affleck. This is what we're dealing with. Down here, like, he thinks he can get away with it because he's like a superstar. But you know what? There's also a thing people say, like, superstars have massive heads. Like, their heads, their noggins are very large. And Affleck takes the cake. Yeah. I think he's got a Guinness book for, like, world record for circumference of a friggin' noggin. Like, there may be something wrong. Water on the brain. Like, something's going on in there. Watermelon head, whatever you want to call him, it's definitely something that we should be discussing. It may be something that we should be quantifying. You want to quantify what the frig that is? Because I want to know. Inquiring minds want to know, you know? It doesn't really make logical sense, you know? Like, okay, I have to stand at 350 yards in order to look at Affleck and see him. And be like, oh, wow, look, that's Affleck. I don't have to go like this fully, 350 yards. Any closer, I'm doing one of these. I'm like, holy freaking cow, Affleck. How do you get around with that nog? What are we doing here? It's like, geez, you know what? Just stand right there. You're perfect. You're my shade. I don't like that the sun is currently at what I would say is my 3 o'clock. And you're perfectly blocking the heat with the backside of your Affleck head. What is that made of, by the way? That's not human, right? You're not. Are you? I've never seen anything like that before. There was a game back in the 90s called Bonk's Adventure. Were you the star? Like, what? I, I'm not trying to be rude by any means, but is that thing licensed? I mean, I'm just trying to figure out, like, when you go out, do people, like, say, okay, look, I need to see your ID? And you're like, oh, here it is. And like, no, I need the ID for the friggin' planet you have in your head. That isn't a head. That's a planet. Pluto. Nibiru. When you have a head the size of Affleck, I guess you become a movie star? I don't know. I mean, can't figure it out. But I said we really cannot chance him traveling outside of Los Angeles. If he gets on an airplane and then lands, gets off, and steps on the other part of the planet, poles shift. The poles shift. It's all because of Affleck. We need to keep him over there. West Coast. I would say this. Affleck, I like your insurance, okay? Affleck. But I don't really think we should allow you near children. There's a chance you may swallow someone by accident. You're just like, you take a deep breath because you yawned, and you swallow a young boy. I brought my young boy around Ben Affleck head, and he swallowed him. How did it happen? He was taking a deep breath, and he yawned. Before you know it, little Timmy was gone. Where did he go? You don't want to know. Ben Affleck's normal-sized belly. He does a weird thing. It's like a snake where he eyes his jaw and swallows the little boy whole. Affleck. Look what we're dealing with here. Oh my goodness, guys, Affleck. He always makes me laugh, that Ben Affleck. Oh goodness. Well, we had another one. Another great show tonight. And remember, guys, this show is live every single day at 10 p.m. So make sure you subscribe. You dingy the belly. Don't just subscribe, make sure you ding the bell. Because if you know anything about YouTube, if you subscribe, you're basically unsubscribed. Yeah, you need to ding the bell or you will never hear from the show you subscribe to again. That's what's going down. You know what I'm saying? They're just like, and they unsubscribe you. Like, oh, wasn't the show on last night? Yeah, but you didn't ding the bell, so we thought you didn't want to know. Oh, but I subscribed. No, you didn't. You didn't put the effort in. Remember, you gotta go subscribe and then, oh, all notifications. You didn't do that. That told us that you really don't want to know about that act. You really don't want to know about that variety program, positivity, music. If you really did, you would have been like, yeah, I'm gonna push that little bell. But since you didn't, you'll never hear about them again. That's our policy. They have to really, really care. Blood sample didn't come along. If they sent the blood sample, we would have given them full exclusive connection to the platform. Oh my goodness, guys. So look, tomorrow, Alex T, I appreciate you, BJ, Chris, Sid, NTC, Trace, and World Debt Now. Love seeing you guys here. Remember, 10 p.m. tomorrow, we do it all over again. And if you have not, please go check out some of the songs. I've been dropping them all week, all month, and we just released album 6. The 6th album of 2021. That is 78 songs in 1 year, and that's to date. We have another 91 to go. So, join the Renaissance. We are going to change the world. I don't give a frig how long it takes. I will be here every day until we start to break the wall down. So, until tomorrow, it's Mark Pyres. You got to go. And it's Renaissance.